2 days ago, Goldman Sachs' chief economist, Jan Hatzius, said that AI investment had added, in his words, basically zero to US GDP in 2025. And earlier in the week, there was the paper from the NBER that suggested that 80% of American, British and Australian companies were reporting no productivity gains. And that headline is repeated in lots of other places. There was a PC magazine that said the AI agent hype is real, the productivity gains aren't. Now, there are many ways to interpret that number. Of course, not least, it means that 20% of firms, just 3 years after the ChatGPT moment, do claim to see productivity benefits. And that concords with our proprietary tracking of US public companies' Gen AI claims. It lines up with what our friend Eric Brynjolfsson at Stanford University is starting to say about the productivity data that is becoming visible. But here's the thing, those numbers measure a particular type of real thing. And perhaps they're measuring something that is less important. Maybe they are measuring the wrong thing. They're looking at companies across the economy. Sometimes they look at individual companies, but they don't look at people like me, and they can't capture what is going on there. The revolution isn't merely general intelligence. One of the things I've observed is that when the cost of delegation falls below the execution cost for a growing fraction of what we call knowledge work, when that cost falls by an order of magnitude, you do much more of it. And that's basically the whole story. What RMA has done is it has made it really, really easy for me to just bark orders, sometimes into a system in parallel, and get lots and lots and lots of work done. If you think about a big company, they're running pilots, they're building governance frameworks, and they're hiring chief AI officers, a job that exists today and will not exist in 5 years. But they have to contend with all the issues of big companies, and that's what turns up in the statistics. A small number of us have already deployed what amounts to a 5, maybe a 10-person team working round the clock on our behalf. Now, I'm one of those people, and I'm not special. I'm just early. The gap between the people who've started and the people who haven't started is widening every week.
Thanks for listening all the way to the end. If you want to know when the next conversation is released, just hit subscribe wherever you're listening. That's all for now, and I'll catch you next time.